Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Today we are learning how to make Cricut Infusible Ink colored tote bags on the Great Maker Show and Tell. So Cricut Infusible Ink markers are a really cool tool for us crafters because we can literally make designs, draw them with the markers or the pens, and then transfer them to things like this tote bag, which is what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. And I love these Cricut Infusible Inks because when we heat them up, they actually turn into a gas and they get right into our material, and then when they cool down, they solidify and they create this perfect, really, it's a perfect design. There's no seams, nothing. It's like what you'd see in a store. It's very, very cool. And I'm going to show you how to make this. So what we're going to need are some Cricut Infusible Ink pens. So these are the pens, not the markers. They have the fine tip and the 0.4 fine tip. And this is the basic set. Okay, so we're specifically going to use the black, the pink, and the purple. Of course, you can use whatever colors you want. And we're going to need our Cricut, which we're going to use to draw out the black mandala design or another design of your choice. We're going to need the actual tote bag, and I'm using one of the Cricut tote bags. And these are the ones that Cricut sells. They're guaranteed to work with their products. You may be able to use another blank. It just needs to have a very high count or 100% polyester for the infusible ink technology to work properly. And of course, we also need some laser color paper. That's where we're actually going to put our design on to transfer it to our bag. We need a sheet of butcher paper, a sheet of white cardstock, a LightGrip mat, a lint roller, and a way to heat our design to transfer it to our bag. And I'm going to use an easy press. You can also use an easy press too, or a heat press. It just needs to be large enough to place over your whole design. You can't do it in two separate passes. And yeah, and then of course we're going to need a design. So I've designed this mandala, and you can just put it on black, and it looks very cool black if you're not into coloring. But if you like to color, you're going to love this because you get to color in all the designs however you want. I chose to do it pink and purple, and I actually did some blending, which I think worked out really well. So let me show you where to get this free mandala file and how to get your Cricut to draw it out onto your laser color paper so that you can transfer it to your tote bag or your t-shirt or whatever you want to make it. So your first step is to create your design that you would like to color with your infusible inks. And you can get my free mandala design over on my blog at jennifermaker.com. And I keep my free designs in my library. You click on library at the top, and if you don't have a password yet, you can get one for free here, or click on enter the library. And once you're inside the library, you'll just want to look for or search for the mandala. I have a couple, so you'll want to look for the one that goes along with the Cricut Infusible Ink Coloring Mandala Tote Bag. And you want to go ahead and click right here to download it. And then we will open it up, and it'll be available for us to access on our computer. And we're going to upload this to Cricut Design Space. So let's head on over there. So here we are in Cricut Design Space, and you want to click on New Project, and then click on Upload, Upload Image, and we're going to go find the mandala that you downloaded earlier. And this is a very big file, so be patient while it uploads. That looks good. Go ahead and click Save. Again, be patient while it uploads. All right, so here it is. So let's go ahead and insert this image onto our canvas. Now there's several things that we need to do before we just go ahead and start using our Cricut to draw this design. First of all, we need to make sure that everything is set to draw. It's not set to draw by default because that's just the nature of how it works. So we want to make sure that everything over here on the right says draw, not cut. To do this, we select everything. So we just go up to here to select all, and then we go to the line type menu and change it from cut to draw. Now everything over here on the right says draw. Second, we need to change the color of the pen so that it knows to do it in different colors. You can use whatever colors you want. This color here, we'll do this top one here. This one I believe is purple, and I'm going to use my purple pen for that. And then this second one here, I believe, is pink. I'm going to use my pink pen for that one. So we have our different pen color set. So the next thing we need to do is make sure that everything is attached so that it all draws together. So we want to select all again and then come down here to the bottom and click attach. Now everything's attached together, so our pens, our colors will go right inside the black lid just like we want. Finally, we need to make sure this is the right size. So right now this is sized to basically 9 by 9. Well, that's okay for if you have a piece of paper that's large enough, but most laser copy paper is 8.5 inches wide maximum. So we need to decrease this in size so our design can be drawn on our paper. So I'm going to just click this resize button in the lower right corner and resize this to like 8.25 or whatever. Okay, so now it's just under 8.5 and it should fit onto our piece of paper. And I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and click Make It. Now, if you chose to personalize this with a name or anything, you'll want to make sure that you mirror it. I'm going to go ahead and mirror it because we always want to mirror our Infusible Ink projects. And this looks awesome. It should fit on our paper without a problem. All right, so let's click Continue. And I'm going to select my Cricut Explore Air 2. And we want to set our material to copy paper. So we click Browse All Materials, and we just can type in copy up here at the top and search on it. And there's copy paper. There we go. Now for step 2, we need to have our Cricut draw the design with an infusible ink pen. All right, so we need a piece of paper. So again, I'm using laser color paper for this. This is what Cricut recommends. We're going to want to put this in the upper left-hand corner of our mat. Now we want to make sure that we have enough space for our design. I'm going to offset this just a tiny bit here, just to be absolutely sure our design is 8.25 inches. I'm going to double check this over in the Cricut Design Space so we can see. If you click on the mat preview, it'll show for you right here. It shows you how far over it comes, and it says just about 8.5. All right, so we have this all ready to go. Let's open up the Cricut and load our mat in. Press the load button. All right, so we're starting with our, these things to the side. We're starting with the black pen, okay? So there's a little arrow here, and this indicates where I always put this to the front. It makes it a lot easier for us to see. So we just put this in just like this and push it down until there's a little snap usually, and close the clamp, and then we can go ahead and press the load button, go ahead and press the flashing button and put the cap on your pen. Now you might be curious how long it takes the Cricut to draw out this mandala in the black ink, and it took just under an hour. So plan for that, just set it to draw and go do something else for a while. And just think how nice it is that you're not drawing it out by hand. Alright, so the black is finished, and now it's time to put our pink tip in. Cricut Design Space will tell you which color to load next, so definitely watch for that. So let's put this back in. Let's add our pink tip. Let's make sure that it's writing well. Sometimes when it first starts, this is a good tip. When it first starts a little bit, this is good. Okay, so we're going to put this in just like this. Here, snap, close the clamp, put the tip on so I don't lose it. Alright, it's good to go. Let's go ahead and press the flashing button. All right, the pink is done, and now it's time for our purple. Let's make sure that this is ready. Looks great. Put that in there. Close that up. Alrighty, there we go. Start that up. Alright, and that is done. Let's take a look and see how it turned out. Alright, so to get our design off of our LightGrip mat, you want to flip it over onto your surface and peel the mat away from your paper very gently. You wouldn't want to rip your beautiful design. So go slow, take your time. This is why it's so important to use the LightGrip mat instead of your standard grip mat. You don't want any tearing here. Alright, now you can apply it just as is, or you can do more coloring. I am going to try to do some more coloring. Now you might be wondering, can you get your Cricut to draw all of the pink and all of the purple? Yes, you could if you're willing to design it that way yourself in Illustrator or Inkscape. So you're welcome to open up the SVG in those programs and create your own pen lines to fill in everything. I chose not to, however, because I wanted to also experiment with coloring by hand. And if you're wondering how long it took to color this mandala, well, you may not be surprised to hear that it took over 3 hours to color this by hand. And at first it was awesome. Like, this is so relaxing. But then by the second hour, my hand was starting to cramp. And I'm not really a coloring book person, so I got pretty tired of it. If you are, you're going to love this. And if you're not, then either don't color it all the way in or just color parts of it. And make sure that when you're coloring it evenly so that you can stop whenever you want to. Oh, and by the way, the word of the day for this project is wine, because I needed a glass to get through finishing coloring this. Alright, so here is our mandala design all filled in with our pink and purple markers. Again, you can use whatever colors you want. Now our next step is to transfer our completed design to our tote bag. So I'm going to start by heating my original Easy Press to 360 degrees. It can go warmer if you're using the Easy Press 2. Follow the directions at the Cricut Heat Press Guide. So I have mine already set to 360, and I've already got it set to 80 seconds, which is what the guide tells us to do. So this is all ready to go. Let's put this right over here. All right. Now we need our tote bag. So this is the tote bag this is the Cricut blank tote bag. Again, we've got that seal there to tell us that it's guaranteed to work with Cricut's products. All right, so we want to place our Easy Press pressing mat inside this tote bag. So here is our mat. We're going to put it right inside the tote bag just like this. There we go. So that's in the tote bag. And then we also need to put a piece of cardstock on top of the mat inside the tote bag to prevent any bleed through onto our mat. So here is a piece of white cardstock. They recommend 80 pound, which is what this is. So that's right in there inside of our mat. So in our mat we have the piece of cardstock and the Easy Press mat. So that's in there and all good to go. All right, so now we need to lint roll our tote bag. So we're going to lint roll this to make sure there's no dust or debris or little bits of paper, packaging, or anything on it that would interfere with our design. Now we're going to cover our tote bag with butcher paper that is larger than the heat plate. So it has to be larger than your plate. Let's just double check that. It is. Just barely, but yes, it is. All right, so we're gonna cover it and we're going to preheat the bag for 15 seconds. So when this gets down to 65, we'll know that we've preheated it long enough. Preheating helps us remove any wrinkles and moisture that might interfere with our transfer. All right, so we've preheated our bag. So now we need to take our design and place it face down. So here's our design. We're going to put it face down. Make sure that you've centered it. You've got it the right side up. Always double check that. This looks like a good spot. Tape the corners down. So we've got our Infusible Ink heat resistant tape here. So you're not using just any tape, you're using the heat resistant tape. That is important. We don't want anything melting into our projects. So we're going to tape it down so it stays in position. Make sure, again, we have it nice and straight, so it looks pretty good. There we go. And we're going to cover it with our butcher paper. Make sure it's completely covered. All right, now it's time to press for 80 seconds. All right, let's do this. Press for 80 seconds. And you want to use light pressure. So light pressure is one hand. So I'm not really pushing it down. My hand is resting on it. All right, so remember we lift up just like this and we place the easy press over here. And we can slowly remove the butcher paper because it's taped down, so we're not going to move anything. So we can take that off. Now it's important that this cool completely before we remove the tape from our bag. So we want to wait until it cools. You can feel the heat coming off of this right now. And we can, typically, like, I know I would give it like 5 minutes just to be careful, because if you move it before the ink has had a chance to solidify back, because again, it turns into a gas when we heat it up, and that's how it infuses itself into our material. And then once it cools down, the ink becomes a solid again. And if we move it around while it's still hot, we can get ghosting or marbling, and our design doesn't look as nice. And we don't want that because we spent a lot of time making this beautiful mandala, right? So we want to make sure it's cooled completely. All right, let's go ahead and give it a try. All right, so we want to slowly remove the tape and the image. All right, so here's the big reveal. Wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is just gorgeous. Here's what it looked like. Here's what I see on here is left over, and this is what has transferred. It looks really, really very pretty. And I mean, we were actually able to blend things fairly well here. There's definitely a transition from pink to purple here. Awesome. Looks great. So I think this tote bag turned out amazing. I just love how vibrant the Infusible Ink pens transfer. It's just so pretty, and I love how, like, nothing, if this gets wet, it's not going to get hurt. I can wash it. It's like you just feel fabric when you touch it. There's no seams or anything. It's not going to crack. It's not going to peel because it's the Infusible Ink, and it's really cool. And it was fun to color it for like the first hour. I will totally admit that I am not really an adult coloring book kind of person. If you are, you're going to love this design. If you're not, you might want to just do black. Because the first hour was awesome. I'm like, this is cool. I am coloring. I see why people like this. It's so relaxing. It's very zen. And then I got to the second hour and I'm like, well, I think I need a glass of wine and we need to figure out how to speed this up because this is taking a long time because this is a pretty big design. I chose to do it all together in one sitting. If you break it out into different sittings, it might be a lot easier to handle, or maybe you just love to color. Either way, this is a really fun design, and I would love to see you make this. If you ever have questions about creating, like using the tote bags or another blank or using the pens to create this design, just let me know. Leave a question below this video or come on over to my awesome Facebook group at facebook.com/ nope, I got that wrong, at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. And I'm so excited to see what you make with the mandala. I think it would really look great on a t-shirt as well. I think that would be really striking. And yeah, so have fun with this. The markers are a lot of fun. And I know that there have been some questions about, could you do a whole design using just one set of markers? Totally. I did not run out. I still have plenty of, I can't tell how much ink I have left in my pens, but I have plenty of ink left. So not to worry, you can definitely do that. All right, well, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until next time.